Alright, I'm a little late to the Baldur's Gate 3 drama
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
because I was scooped up editing my last video. Please go watch it. But anyway, I just want to give my take too, because this is the case study that I needed to discuss an important topic in the gaming industry. Why AAA games are mostly doomed to fail. You may read the title and think I'll jump on the bandwagon of hating several of the developers that were trying to curb our expectations after the resounding success of Baldur's Gate 3. But I won't. Sorry, don't click off. Even though I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 yet, I want to, I just don't have the liquidity at the moment. I can tell how great a game it is just by the discourse around it. Larian, like always, has outdone itself and many others in the gaming space yet again. And it is not an anomaly like some people would like you to believe. Let's see why. First, let me just read the trending tweets around this topic and we will come back to what the problem really is. So I have this article here by Game World Observer, which does a good job summarizing all the drama. What this article says is that, well, Baldur's Gate 3 had a long development cycle. It had the tech and resources from the previous two games, which was Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2. And then it had a successful early access period which lasted 3 years. If you ask me, this is all just peripherals. This isn't actually addressing the core issue on why all these developers are up in arms. So let's read the tweet from the horse's mouth. One Xavier Nelson Jr. reads, "Like a lot of people, I'm deeply excited about what the lovely folks at Larian accomplished with Baldur's Gate 3. But I want to gently, preemptively push back against players taking that excitement and using it to apply criticism or a raised standard to RPGs going forward." And I have his whole thread over here which says this line, So this is not a new baseline for RPGs. This is an anomaly. Trying to do something in the same way, especially without the same advantages, could kill an entire group of studios. Oof, that's heavy. Another tweet, I don't know by who. Oh yeah, here. Rebecca Harvick reads, "This whole thread! You can't be appalled about how much big games cost to make and make those lavish productions the standard by which all games are judged. I hope Baldur's Gate 3 is a generous, once-in-a-lifetime RPG. I hope no one expects a 10, 20, 40 person team to make one." So I just like to say, I don't think anyone is expecting indie games to, recreate Baldur's Gate 3. The most they're expecting is for AAA games to, fix their internal issues. So yeah, I don't get this a bit. I don't think any gamer wants an indie game like Baldur's Gate 3. Another tweet by Mr. Josh Sawyer reads, sorry for the names, reads, "Great thread. The conditions under which Baldur's Gate 3 was made are atypical. This is in no way a slight against the game or the people working on it, who are clearly passionate and talented. Having the foundation set and the funding to build things on your own terms is invaluable." That's very important. But I think these tweets cover it enough. I'll link this article, and if anyone wants to read this in depth, can do so. But the main factor in all this is something that I have only seen one other YouTuber highlight, Alana Pierce. Now she is an invaluable insight into this situation because she is not only a gaming YouTuber, and obviously a gamer, but also a game dev on the writing side. She knows what's going on inside the industry, and I really recommend you to go watch her video about this drama. But what she and Josh in the tweet earlier said was that the problem is funding. Or more clearly, the expectations of investors who pour a lot of money into the game. Well, what do you know? It all comes back to money, eh? But really, it is the most important factor to consider in this quote-unquote drama. If anyone remembers my video about if video games suck now, I distinctly mentioned one point in that video. Some of these public corporations have to do this, otherwise due to the legal system of shareholder wealth maximization, the entire upper management can be fired. See, that is the main problem. What we are looking at is a case study for the exact point I made. The thing about Larian Studios is, well, they are a private company. They don't need to answer to anyone. Around 70% of the company is owned by the head of the studio and his wife, and only 30% by Tencent. I mean, I did not know that, and goddamn does Tencent have its hands in everything. Anyway, that means all the resources, aka money, that are being pumped into the game is coming from the person who is heading it creatively. A creative investor does not care about shareholder wealth maximization or earning a profit. A creative person cares about their creation more than money. This is why they delayed the console ports, took all the time they needed to develop the game, and had it in early access for 3 years. They did not have an investor or shareholder breathing down their necks. The thing that these game devs are trying to highlight, albeit wording it extremely poorly, either because they don't know or they do know and don't want to get fired, is that the vast majority of game devs do not have this liberty. Obviously, anyone can get this if an indie dev says this, because they're small. But it still applies to AAA and AA games because they have investors. For any AAA or AA game, the money is coming from somewhere, right? Let's say the company is not public. Well, whoever the investor is will always tell them to hurry up because I want my damn money, fool. For a public company, this problem is even worse. Wanna know why? By law, in most countries, the management of a public company must take all decisions that increase shareholder wealth. It is called the shareholder wealth maximization principle in finance. Woohoo! Finally, something I've studied is coming into use. If the majority of shareholders feel as if the management intentionally affected the wealth of the shareholders, they can sue the management, get them fired, or even liquidate the whole company in the worst cases. Although I don't think that's happened much. But regardless, this environment that our modern economics, the financial industry, and late-stage capitalism has built is why most game devs do not have the luxury that Larian did. Their investors or shareholders will always think in the short term, will always try to nickel and dime us gamers. They don't care about creating the best game ever. They don't care about giving a good experience to the gamers either. They just want return on investment. That's it. That's literally it. That's why most AAA games are doomed to fail. Legally forced to fail. In our modern economy, investors are valued far more than any artist who wants to create a good art piece, aka video games. This is why broken games are shipped out, console ports that aren't ready to be released are released, filthy and scummy monetization techniques are used, and why the gaming industry is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
This is what these game devs are trying to tell us. Don't blame the devs. They're just the labor at the end of the day. Although yeah, please try to word your thoughts better. What we need to do is create a system where something other than money is valued. Which is, albeit pretty hard, because hey, I mean, you have to put dinner on the table, of your own table, of those working under you, and you know, but maybe crowdsourcing or something like that is the future. It's just hard. This is why some say Baldur's Gate 3 is an anomaly. It is not an anomaly by the definition of the word. It's just hard. Many investors are not gamers. Many investors are not patient. Many investors don't want to create a good product. They just want money. If they invested $2 million, they want $4 million in return. That's why the devs can't do anything. And frankly speaking, even we can't do anything unless our focus around money changes. Somehow. I don't have the answers, nor do I claim to, but maybe if we all work together, bounce ideas and how to implement them off each other, maybe we can save the industry we all love most. But by all intents, Baldur's Gate 3 is not an anomaly. It is something that video games can become if investors are not only looking out for a return.